Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to episode 60 of the Prosperous Yogini Podcast. I'm at part one of my four-part series of mini teaching clinics. So for the next 4 weeks, I'm aiming to record an episode that is around 10 to 15, maybe 20 minutes in length, but a shorter episode nonetheless, which will have a teaching focus, be like mini teaching clinics. In my Prosperous Yogini mentorship program, we have monthly teaching clinics. They are 90 minutes long. They are like a half an hour discussion, lecture style focus, followed by an actual class where we explore what we've been focusing on and get yoga together. So I thought I'd use this little mini series to model the way that I work with those teachers in my mentorship program, which covers both of those hats of being a yoga teacher, that going out and creating that yoga business, but also the teaching side of things and feeling confident in your teaching, because the two are completely interconnected. I know lots of the listeners of the podcast aren't all yoga teachers. Stay with me, because if you're a movement specialist, Pilates teacher, or you practice yoga, right? You're going to find these 4 episodes useful as well. Okay, so today's topic is posture. And it's really one of my favorite topics. I'm going to struggle to keep this short, but I want to just put it out there that there is no such thing as a bad posture or a good posture. And I really want to encourage you to think about this when we come to language and we come to making judgments about our students and the shapes that they are making in their body. That there's really no one perfect alignment. There's not good alignment, there's not bad alignment, there's not correct alignment. What we are looking to create or invite and guide in our students, that is a much better word, is balanced action throughout the body, balanced action in terms of energy, balanced action in terms of space within the joint. And it's challenging, I know, because as yoga teachers, we really care about our students. We're here teaching yoga because we love yoga and we know it's helped us, and we want to use this to help our students. And in that, we want to make sure when we're teaching, we don't cause them any harm, of course. I get this. I really, really get this. But after 14 years of teaching, I have really come to realize that as a teacher, I am just the guide. I really don't know my student's body. The person that knows their body is them. They know their body better than anyone else. Not just that, the human body is a self-regulating system. It has its own mechanism for internal balance. The person who can find that, the only person who can find their pathway back to balance, is the individual, because they're the only person that knows what's truly going on in their body. And as a yoga teacher, I could look at someone's shape and make a judgment, okay? But I may not be right. What I'm trying to do is guide my students into that felt sense of, this is right for me. Oh my days, how powerful is this, right? And oh my days, how hard is this? How hard is it to take someone and all their layers of beliefs and stories and experiences, all this stuff that it is to be human, my darling, and help them navigate this stuff to find a place where this is like, no, this is right for me. And we're like, wow, Amy, we're just talking about a yoga posture here. I'm going to pick on Tadasana in a minute. It's not going to change their lives. No, you're right. Okay, one asana, one posture is unlikely to change someone's life. But giving someone or empowering someone to be in their own energy, own vibration, honoring their own uniqueness, and being able to say, I'm going to do this, even though it's completely different to what everyone else in this yoga class is doing. I'm going to do this because this is what my body is telling me it needs. Can you imagine how powerful that is? Could you imagine that this is possibly the greatest gift that you can give to your students? So let's get back to this idea of posture not being good or bad, okay? Because is one of my real bugbears. And the reason why I'm picking Tadasana is because Tadasana is a great example of how we can end up in this state. That many of my students, many of the people I've taught over the years, come to me with a story. I've got these stories too, by the way. I have bad posture. I have a bad knee, bad hip. This is my weak side. Okay. These are just stories. These are our beliefs. What we focus on, we expand. A belief is just a thought that we've continued to think. We are the creators of our own reality. So if I tell myself I've got a bad posture, and that every time I come to yoga class, that bad posture is going to manifest and is going to inhibit my ability to move, what do you think may be my experience of movement? I'm not going to feel great about it. I'm going to be overly self-critical. Whereas if I step away from that story of like, posture, what do we mean by posture? What do we mean by bad posture? What we're actually talking about is there some structural imbalance, some structural misalignment that is causing suffering, causing pain, causing discomfort, limiting our possibility. Right? And that might be yes, and that might be no. We might actually just be at the end range of our natural range of movement, for example. Yet we're thinking, well, I can't do lotus, so I'm definitely bad at yoga. Right. Whereas when we come into this energy of this is who I am, this is what is right for me in this present moment, and my God, this is just enough. You're like, all of a sudden, the self-regulating system of the body starts to line itself up in a way that's right for that person, because we just shifted out of the way of ourselves. Okay, let's take Tadasana, because Tadasana is one of my favorite poses to prove this point. I'm going to do my best to do my monologue, my Tadasana monologue, as I call it, where I go through all of the cues that I know off the top of my head for Tadasana. And I realize this is a podcast, and I realize lots of you are going to be listening to this, not watching it on YouTube, but feel free to move with me. So if you'd like to, if it's possible, unless you're listening to me while you're driving along, let's come to Tadasana. So just come to standing, all right? I'd like you to lift up your toes. And as we lift up the toes, we can ground through the inner arch, ball of the big toe, ground through the outer arch, mound of the baby toe, root for your inner heel, and root for your outer heel. So really spreading through those four corners of the feet. See if you can bring your big toe down. This is just a bit of fun, by the way, now. And then keep your 3 middle toes up and bring your baby toe down. Oh, yes, that's a thing harder on my left foot. And then spread all toes down. Spread through the whole of the sole of the foot. Spread through the four corners of the foot. Mount the big toe, the baby toe, inner and outer heel. Lift the inner arch of your foot. So all of those cues are really valid when it comes to the feet. My favorite one, though, to be honest, is spreading through the whole of the sole of the foot. So we have this sense of connectivity. Like, why are we dividing the foot into these four corners? There's a lot going on there. Spread through the whole of the sole of the foot. Okay, and as we root through the feet, I want you to root down, feel a sense of rising up. Now that rooting down to rise up is one of my favorite simple cues. I'm keeping going as we lift through the inner arch of the feet. Feel the muscles of the legs hugging the bone. Have a sense of the shins hugging in and the thighs rolling out. In fact, it may be useful for you to bend at the waist, bringing the hand to the outer edge of the calf. Press the hands against the lower leg, press the legs against the hands. Feel the lower leg shins roll in. Feel the thighs roll out, bringing your torso up. As the muscles of the legs hug the bone, rooting down through the feet. Feel a drawing up, and I don't use this word, but I'm going to because I know it exists. Feel a pulling up the kneecap. Feel the quadriceps hug the bones. Better still, guys, because the quadriceps are going to get involved. Could we feel the hamstring? Could we feel the muscles at the back of the thigh hug the bone? As we feel the muscles hugging the legs, rooting down through the feet. I know it exists, and I'm going to say it. I know it exists. Tuck your tailbone under. Or better still, drop your tailbone. Or even better still, drop your sit bone down to the heel. As we lengthen through the tailbone, feel the muscles of the legs hugging the bone, feel the muscles of the glutes hugging the pelvis. As we draw up through the pelvic floor, lift up through the perineum, engage through Mula Bandha. I remember trying to use all the cues I know. Okay. Feel the navel lift to the spine. Draw your belly in. Lift through Uddiyana Bandha. As you engage through the core, feel the ribs knit down to the hips, hugging the belly in. As we draw up through the navel, as we draw up through Uddiyana Bandha, feel the heart center lift, feel the sternum lift, feel your shoulder blades drop down the back of the body. Draw your shoulder blades to the back of the pelvis. Drop the arms down the side of the body, spread through the hands. Relax the shoulders away from the ears as you lift up through the crown of the head. Oh, I'm feeling pretty overwhelmed with these multitude of instructions. I mean, here's one. Stand up straight. Straight spine. I have never seen a straight spine, but there you go. Lengthen, feel the spine moving into length. Oh, there are so many instructions there. Now, I'm not for 1 minute suggesting any of us that uses all of those instructions, plus there's probably more, okay? But so many instructions to just bring the human body to standing. What do you do every day? What does the human body do every day? We come to standing. So why, when I come to the front of my yoga mat, am I bombarded with all these instructions for Tadasana? Me, it comes from a belief that, well, posture is bad and we need to get people into a good posture. And a good posture is Tadasana. Tadasana is us standing in our best posture. Okay, here it is, guys. What are we really doing in Tadasana? We are trying to find balance. We are trying to align ourselves in the best possible way with gravity. So when I stand, when I walk around my daily life, okay, when I come to my yoga mat and do my yoga practice, when I do any form of movement, right, that I am doing it in the most efficient, easiest, pain-free, balanced way possible. Okay, I am being smart with my energy. So, okay, so let's think about what is really going on here. We've got the head at the top of the body, weight about a stone. Then we've got the pelvis in the middle of the body, happens to weigh about a stone. If you're not watching this on YouTube, you're missing out because I'm doing a funky hip dance right now, moving my pelvis. And then at the bottom of my body, I have my feet, my 2 feet. I Googled this, and according to my height, my feet weigh collectively 15.4 pounds, just over a stone, which I got really excited about because I was like, that makes a lot of sense that collectively the feet at the bottom just weigh a little bit more than the pelvis, than the head. Why? Because the body, what do I know about the human body? It is designed to be balanced. It is designed to be efficient. The human body is imperfectly perfect and knows how to self-organize, self-regulate itself, okay? So it makes utter sense that I'm balancing this large weight of my head, that I'm sharing the weight of the head with the pelvis, and then I'm sharing the weight of the head and the pelvis with the feet, and then aligning myself. What I'm trying to do is bring the head in line with the pelvis, and then dropping the weight of the head and the pelvis to the feet. Which then, if we have a posture that is misaligned, okay, then that weight isn't being evenly distributed, and the load is being put in an uneven manner through a part of the body, and that will manifest itself into some form of discomfort, neck pain, shoulder pain, back pain, whatever, okay? So how do I help my students find balance on their mat and continue to practice finding this balance shape, this balanced posture. Not good posture, not bad posture. Posture is neutral. Alignment is neutral. It's neither good nor bad. Alignment is allowing that person to find their shape inside the asana, inside the posture that feels spacious, that feels good for them. Okay, so let's take some really two quite obvious misalignments in the pelvis, right, that we will probably see. The first one is the one that my one is a lordotic arch. So this is where we allow the pelvis to roll forward, that anterior tilt into the pelvis. We'll see this commonly in postnatal women. We'll see this in people like predisposition to be hypermobile, block out into the knee joints, and can really roll that pelvis forward and let that lower back arch. And in this alignment, we'll get a lot of compression through the lower back. It's through Uddiyana Bandha. And it's so useful for you guys to watch this on YouTube, because if you could see me right now, my torso is really forward of my head and of my pelvis. So actually, what I want to do is pull forward. Okay. You could say, well, this is my bad posture. This is my story. I've had a baby. I am naturally hypermobile. I like to stand in lordotic arch. Look, this is just my place of safety. I've just got kind of used to hanging out there. Okay. But when I pay attention to it, when I notice I do it, when I'm like, oh, that feels really tight in my lower back, if I just soften my knees for a moment and just lightly engage through my belly and bring my pelvis over my feet, oh yeah, that actually feels a bit more spacious. And now I've had this positive experience and I've stopped going on about my bad posture and how bad I am. I can say, oh yeah, this just feels better. I'm just going to hang out here a bit more, and this becomes my new habit. Let's go to the other way, which is when we will see someone posteriorly tilting the pelvis. So we might see them really gripping into the butt cheeks. I call this holding in a far asana. So now this is an extreme tucking under of the tailbone, which is why the instruction tuck your tailbone under is not a great universal cue. If you're like me and you're like, love arching into the lower back, well, yeah, you know what? If I tuck my tailbone under, it helps to bring head in line with pelvis, pelvis in line with feet. If I'm here, gripping into my glutes and my tailbone hard tucked under, and you tell me to tuck my tailbone under more, there even more. Okay. And I've got a real rounding into my back. And there's a lot of gripping with my glutes. You know, both expressions of the pelvis are not good for pelvic floor health because I'm out of balance. The pelvic floor right now is really hypertonic, really engaged at the back. Okay, oh, I got to come out of that one because that makes me feel like I'm really holding it apart. Okay, so let's finish today's episode with my little nifty trick for Tadasana. So coming to standing, just take a little softness and just like lightly bouncing my knees, finding a sense of buoyancy, finding a sense of space in the knee joint, but it's a joint network. This buoyancy is being transmitted down to my feet, my ankles, up to my pelvis. And what I want you to do is that moment, you know, when you're about to jump, there's that moment where we press down and jump up. I want you to go to that moment that you're just about to jump, but instead of actually taking off the earth, we rebound up into Tadasana. Let's do it again. I'm bouncing, about to bounce. I'm about to take off. Rebound up through Tadasana. Have a sense, okay, top 3 tips. Have a sense of your sit bones, your pelvis dropping down to the feet. Have a sense of the head being in line with the pelvis and the weight of the head and the pelvis dropping down to the feet. I don't think I need anything else. Have a sense of space. Have a sense of this being your perfect posture for this moment. And notice how it is a felt sense. And this is a challenge, my darling. It is a felt sense. We can visually look at our students. We could make a judgment. But I'd like you to start stepping back from those judgments. I'd even like you to start stepping back from when a student comes to you and says they've got this problem, that we go down the route of wanting to know the reason for that problem, okay? Because actually, yeah, sometimes we can. And sometimes the body is such a complex, interweaving, connected network. Sometimes we could perhaps never know, because I don't think we need to know. What we have at our disposal as yoga teachers is the ability to physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, if you like, invite balance into the system, into the energy system of the human body through the practices of yoga, primarily an asana movement practice, breath, meditation. That is what you're doing as a yoga teacher. There is no good or bad posture. There is no correct alignment. There is just balance, an invitation to a balanced system, and an alignment that is unique to that person. Let's finish, my darlings. Tadasana. Come to standing, spread through the soles of the feet. Feel the connection of your feet to the earth. Softening those knees, like you just had bam. And then before that moment, that moment, root down to rise up. Feel the head come in line with the pelvis as you drop the sit bones down, pelvis down to the feet. Space from the feet to the crown of the head. Know that you stand beautifully. Know that you know how to stand, because you're a human being. You've been standing for a long time. All right, my darling. There is the first of our teaching clinics. 3 more coming up. If you're like, oh, Amy, yes, I'd like more of this, I'll put the link in my show notes. Please get yourself on the wait list for my Prosperous Yogini mentorship program. It's open Thursday, the 12th of October. Okay. And if you've listened to this and the doors are closed, just add your name to the wait list. They open 3 times a year. You've got 2 ways of working with me now. So you can come in at option 1, which is the community space where you can ask for help, the 3 live calls a month for 6 months, and all the wonderful self-paced study resources that help you run your business as a 6-module course on the business of teaching yoga, which pretty much covers everything. And then there's also some bonus courses, my yoga library, over 100 classes, vinyasa, yin and hatha, so for your own practice and your own teaching ideas. And then there's my leverage short course on how you can get going online, because like bottom line is we all benefit from some passive income. Okay. And then the art of teaching yoga or anything. If you feel confident in your teaching, you're going to feel confident in your yoga business. If you feel confident in your yoga business, you're going to feel confident in your teaching. The 2 are interlinked. Option 2, okay, limited amount of people I can take an option 2. So this is why you need to get yourself on the wait list. Is all the goodness of option 1, but you also have me as your like one-to-one cheerleader. We start the 6-month program with a 60-minute call. I get you to fill out a questionnaire. I'll look at all aspects of your business, your website, your social media, anywhere where you're showing up. Don't worry if you haven't got a website or you don't post on social media. And from our one-to-one call, from your questionnaire, from what you tell me that you want to do, from this thing I can't explain, where I can tap into something, I don't know what it is, do we even need to name it? I can tap into something and see what it is you're being called to do. I create your pathway to profit. We use that to guide us through our 6 months together, and you have personal support throughout that whole 6 months, which is me in your pocket, WhatsApp, Voxer support, email support. And like, you know, the other thing I do in my one-to-one clients, like this week just gone, I had working with who's building her online course business empire, and got a bit stuck in MailerLite and email automation. I was like, look, the best way we can solve this is let's on a Zoom call, let's screen share, let's go through this together. That happens as well if you work with me one-to-one. So I can only take a limited amount of people every time the door open to provide that level of support. So make sure, if you're like, yeah, Amy, 997 for option 2. That is still an incredible price for that level of support. I'm in. Please get your name on the wait list, because I'll be inviting wait list first for that option 2. Okay. And on that note, I will see you all next week.